So welcome guys to another SCPH replay, and boy howdy! That was something at the tail end of the previous one. You're not gonna be able to see it. You see it on YouTube, of course. We're gonna be cleaning things up. We don't want to get in trouble anywhere else. And hopefully the OS is on our side. We mean to just turn things off, learn from our mistakes. But anyway, let's get into the action here on Romanticide, and this was part of the Team Liquid map contest 14, but wasn't part of the final 3 added. Those were actually Everdream, Golden Wall, and Purity Industry, and those maps very interesting to say the least. This map was actually featured in one of the Wardy TV TL map contest tournaments, which Cure won overall. And this is a very macro oriented map. So anyway, let's get into the matchup here on Romanticide, and introducing the players who are talking here, the Red Zerg, that is Chappy. Now if you don't know Chappy, guys, he is part of the Australian scene. He is part of Downfall Gaming and was off the roster in Nation Wars 2019. Is more active nowadays 2018, 2019, and Downfall Gaming having the likes of Demi, as well as a number of other players from Australia. Demi, of course, the pretty much alone representative from India by this point. And they did have Bliss in their field earlier on in the 2017 and 2018. But yeah, Chappy is looking to show off into this game. And in the meantime, his opponents here at the top left, this man needs no introduction by this point. With the Team Dragon, it is gonna be PhyNix. So PhyNix has been on the uprise, getting a new team, playing this very mech-oriented strategy that has always worked for him, and with it being on to the meta even better. Talking about World of Sleepers right now, it is a little reminiscent perhaps, and I would say if you don't want, like, all the way before the Vespene Geyser one, it really was a very Zerg favorite map. It still was by the tail end, and still is. World of Sleepers is a very annoying map for Terra in the first place. But, you know, right now, it's gonna be Romanticide. And interesting enough, it does have that reminiscent opening on Ephemeron. You do have the third base just close by, near to natural as well. It is very dispensable, though ramp is a little more exposed. So if you are gonna wall on in, it has to be a little more of the concave on the outside. The crystals, as well as this dentures, these lichtures, might provide the field. And looking around the map right now, let's look. There's gonna be rich Vespene Geysers in the middle. Mineral fields actually blocking these Vespene Geyser enabled areas. So if you are gonna take the time to mine from your third base, you can go for the aggressive fort and then mine even more to make bigger openings. But there are a lot of rocks actually in the way. There are lots of obstacles to block your approach. And I'm looking around the map right now, I'm seeing that this has to be a lot of different rotations. Sure, there is pretty straightforward paths, but at the same time, these are very narrow funnels that proper openings, that proper focus fire on might really work out. Splash damage might be king as well in these small little openings. And PhyNix gonna be looking to go around the map, runs into the mineral field instead, sees, hey, where do I go by this point? Where do I even rotate? So anyway, guys, thank you for the sub right there, Mr. Calibra. I'll give you the notif later on, as Chappy, already going for Speed Racer, has the Carapace pretty early on into the field. Now, going for the Carapace allows their Overlords a little more time to buy against Vikings and gets you some really good scouting information. If you're willing to invest that gas early on and go for a more mineral-based composition, well, Carapace is truly your friend in the early game. In the meantime, you have 3 bases here for Chappy and the spawning pool to be still there. Here for the Zerg has the metabolic boost, and PhyNix actually being pesky. It's a little bit of bounce action. Seems like the drone's unaffected larva instead, and that is going to be 1 kill here onto the workers. Reaper getting some really good value, make that 2. Chappy not paying attention and finally realizing, hey, there's something in the way. Queen comes on out, and it seems like Chappy was really relying on that Queen to come out a little earlier. Losing 2 drones, not a bad way here for PhyNix to start things off. But still, he is a little behind in that work count, but mules, of course, are a big game changer into that. So PhyNix gonna go for the supply depot wall. Will not go for the command center because it's a little too tight, honestly, in this map. It's only 4 supply depots wide, so it is gonna be an easy investment to set up a wall that you can retract at any time. In the meantime, We have PhyNix's bread and butter already coming online. The Battlecruiser by the 5-minute mark, looking to try and get into Chappy's main base and just blow everything up to Kingdom Come. Now, does Chappy realize this? Does he know what is coming his way? Overlord gonna be flying around. Hellions still waiting on the other side, and there's a lot of Hellions actually being bunched up by PhyNix. Seems like a timing attack in order. As soon as this BC comes on out, all these Hellions are gonna be on the approach. Immediately seeing the Tech Lab and that Starport in production. Well, Spore Crawlers now looking to go online into the field. So with this mech-based approach coming here onto Chappy's doorstep, he is going to try to take caution and look to build the Roach Warren into this one. Baneling, that's going to be pretty helpful as well to allow him a few more options, but he might want to invest heavily onto those armored units to go for the fight. In the meantime, Battlecruiser right now going to go for the tactical warp. Where does it go? What base does it try to fight in? Going at the edge of the map and into the natural, we engage. Shafter gonna be the first target here. Now the drones falling left, right, and center. But there's a lot of queens set up by Chappy already. Good notice by the Australian player. And this Battlecruiser forced to go northward. At the same time though, PhyNix going for an attack onto the third base. Good action here from our Blue Terran, really putting Chappy on his toes. But the Zerglings able to close the gap. And oh, PhyNix almost losing everything he has except one. So close in that regard. Chappy right now on cleanup crew duty. PhyNix is engaging with those last two in the pair. But at the same time, it's PhyNix going for the run on in, trying to get the main base. Good defense yet again here from Chappy. Really being so proactive with that circling positioning, as well as the queens, ready to find any gaps in their walls. So PhyNix deciding, okay, my first attack didn't work. I'll go for a macro-oriented approach instead. He needs to keep up with Chappy or he will truly face the might of the Swarm later on into this game. I'm gonna get some refineries up as well. Mech really is the name of the game. And Tech Labs double pumping out upgrades. We are gonna get that lock-on upgrade. We are gonna see Blue Flame as well to increase the damage on those Hellions and Hellbats. And more BCs right here right now from PhyNix. Hellions trying to get on the way. BC gonna be providing ground supports. That is gonna be all those Zerglings forced to retreat. In the meantime, good creep set here from Chappy, literally encroaching the map by this point. I wouldn't be surprised if he is the one who decides to open up one of these different pathways. It will allow him to have a faster go against PhyNix. Because this map is not really the biggest onto the diagonal side. It is a little more rectangular. It is onto the horizontal end. On more the x-axis, if he's able to clean up these mineral fields and clean up either the rocks or the mineral fields here, well, it's an easy time to actually run into the base of PhyNix. But we'll see if Chappy is going to decide to do that. He has a ground-based composition that requires speed, that requires getting to his opponent quicker and quicker, and just has a lot of money in the bank. Well, that might be the win condition there for our Red Zerg. In the meantime, PhyNix now mopping up the floor, doesn't want this creep spread to be too contaminated, making sure that speed is gonna be in his corner rather than anything else. Second time the mic has fallen today. Seems like the foundation is just not really looking good. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, the Battlecruisers now flying up into the skylines yet again. Chappy going for a fort. He's just really hugging the map right now. This is a very tight corridor, honestly, on both entrances. A little defensive in terms of Chappy's positioning, but yes, the hatchery gonna go on up by this point. In the meantime, PhyNix gonna go for another supply depot wall. This time, I believe it does cover 4 supply depots wide. And we said it before, from Missile, this is a little risky if you're only gonna have these supply depots on the outside. Why? Is because if this goes down to like a Baneling bust, you are gonna get supply blocked for quite a while, also forcing you to put those call downs for the supply rather than anything else. Mules are so more efficient, and scan is just so useful when you need it. So it really depends. It's basically convenience in a bucket. And sure, it does save the day from time to time, but overall, it does hurt your economy. Apparently, it requires a 5th supply depot. This is still part of the plating that requires building on. Chappy, though, sending these corruptors in, looking for an opportunity, looking to find a way to shut down these BCs. Missile turrets already set up here by PhyNix, waiting for those flyers to come. Cyclones, though, might be able to go lock on, and it's gonna be a cloud of judgment raining on down scrap bits, and all of those guts falling onto those Cyclones. And in the meantime, Chappy, very ambitious with these Zerglings. That's just way too few of them. And this is a standard composition you see from many mech players, Hellions and Cyclones. They give you a lot of versatility in terms of position. You can run around the map, and it's just both coverage in terms of the anti-armor and the anti-ground. Now, in the meantime, they are quite frail, so in the face of adversity such as Swarm Host, you might want to go into a different tech tier and move into Taurus, as well as making sure that you're future-proof for those Broodlords later on. In the meantime, Chappy getting supply blocked yet again, and we're seeing a lot of these Overlords die pretty easily into our past few games. In the meantime, there we go. The Swarm Host right now looking to get in position. Nidus Network will be looking to go online very, very soon. And Chappy right at this point gonna set up the tunnel system and allow these players to move around the map. Chappy now also regurgitating more and more of these creep tumors. Nidus Swarm now on the north hand side, but it seems like an engagement is Norther. Scan trying to find out where these creep tumors are. Ravager gonna go for the bow, but it goes down pretty easily. And you can see the mobility key here for PhyNix to move around, mitigate that damage, and allow him to expand in a more aggressive stance. Anyway though, Roach is now in production, gonna be 9 of them coming into the field. In the meantime, Corruptor flying on around as well. Here we go with the Nidus Swarm. Gonna be a swarm of locusts at the doorstep of PhyNix. Chappy already full on the supply, 200. And what does he have in terms of those units? 75 drones here for Chappy for 72 workers for PhyNix. Not a bad marker to actually stop. You can optimally go for 80, but you have more of these units that you can just throw into the wind. Well, it might be time to maximize that income. Many say that 80 workers is really that magic mark. 80-120 is a pretty solid split, as here we go, Tactical Warp. That Battlecruiser doesn't go down, and this is what we were talking about, supply depots going here for PhyNix into flames, and he gets supply blocked pretty easily as soon as that happens. You might want to have a few supply depots in behind as well, if he has the money for it. So easy, you can make them just flooring rather than buildings in the way, and this barracks now just completely left behind. PhyNix, known to not really play bio too much. I've seen him practice it a few times before, but when it is truly time to shine, he goes for the mech. It's something he's been comfortable with since last year, since his career has really gone onto an upward trajectory. And it's been fun really documenting some of these players looking better and better into the scene. Hopefully they get some really good successful tournament results in the near future, as this is really getting tight here for PhyNix. That's Orbital Command gonna be in the way of many of these units. We see some Taurus now into the field. Ravagers though, as well as Roaches, mopping the floor onto this fort base, and the Planetary Fortress apparently not gonna be able to protect its constituents. And this is Chappy right now, moving around the map. The Ravagers trying to get on away. In the meantime, look at that creep spread here from Chappy. There's so much infestation, there's so much control here for the Zerg by this point. Rocks though, gonna be in a little bit of trouble, and Chappy right now might lose these Corruptors if they're staying way too long. Zerglings though brought into the field, and here comes the Locust from above. Good pincer attack here from Chappy. Very disposable units, not really committing heavily into much, but as we say that, the Queen's actually brought into the fold, and Chappy having no reinforcements there for those units. Not the best way to sacrifice those Queens, and you might need to build a few more in this instance. It seems like Chappy can be happy with 3 Queens, only for spawn larva. The creep tumors are already into huge multiples. It's gonna be a good way to clean up that supply. But at the same time, this is looking really dicey here for Chappy. He's going for Roaches and Ravagers, but he doesn't have the concave to really put up the fight against this. Swarmos in behind, getting blown up. Chappy not releasing those eggs early on, and the Siege Stacks getting some really good hits. In the meantime though, Siege Stacks in behind, trying to play the hero, gonna look like Zeros instead. Tactical Warp to get away with one of those Battlecruisers. Good micro here and now, but oh, PhyNix actually making a mistake. It's a Tactical Warp so close to the battlefield, and that's the all attack move, trying to get closer and closer. The Battlecruiser army gonna be trying to find the way in. But one BC goes down, the capital ship exploding into the abyss. And PhyNix, sure, making a huge dent into the base of Chappy, but Chappy still has so much money in the bank, can't go for more production. He is going to decide to go on with his Zerglings. Adrenal Glands also in production by this point. In the meantime, we do see the Hive ready to go. What does our Zerg player have? +2 on all fronts, especially on the flyer side. No Carapace though means these units are gonna die pretty heavily and pretty easily to the cannons of the Taurus. And the hammer gonna be doiling on yet again. It's gonna be the bell ringing for dinner, and PhyNix right now gonna be providing the punch of Asgard here on Romanticide. It's coming closer and closer to more and more of these buildings, as well as units falling on down. And the hole that PhyNix has punched into the wall is truly opening up for Kool-Aid Man to say, oh yeah, let's get in there. PhyNix now blowing up this natural base. Bailey that's gonna go down. No more roly-poly is coming into this one. Corruptors just blowing apart as Chappy decides to run them onto the other side. And it's free kills here and now. Overlords as well. Sacrifice to buy time for the Roaches and the Ravagers. But it seems like the Zerg has run out of steam. And PhyNix in the meantime bringing in the wave of the future. The Terran race having this advantage. This is a high tier game, that's for sure, but it's not high enough if you can't really juggle those abilities against those mech based units. It really is a tough task for Zerg players right now. Like you can see in championships, in tournaments, sure, they can still win, but it is going to be a harder climb for Zerg players in the ladder. Competitive play is the true balance here and now, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else has to build around it. It's all about making an esport. It's all about the beauty of StarCraft here and now. And one last chance here from Chappy. Can decide to go for the space. Orbital command right now here from PhyNix will do absolutely nothing. And the SCP is gonna go down. The defense though is coming. And Hellions gonna mop the floor yet again. Roasted barbecue yet again for tonight. It has been the meal for many mech players. But sure, the command center goes down. It seems like Chappy is just trying to find a way to expand somewhere. It gets blown up to smithereens by PhyNix. Getting closer and closer by this point. There you go with the Bile yet again. The spawning pool, not even gonna go online. No way to make queens, no way to make anything. And what can Chappy even build in behind? Only flyers as well as roaches. Banelings though still gonna be in the cards, but you can't reinforce any more Zerglings. It's time for the scan. Sees all of this coming his way. Good assets used there from those rollers. And the Ravagers right now with some pretty solid balls. You can see that the Thors really have to move around to try and find their way. But if Chappy gets a few more battle hits from the Beyond, it is going to be an opportunity for him to mop things up. PhyNix though still in production. He has a good number of workers in behind, so it really is a sustainable income. And GG is called. Well played there to both sides. But PhyNix really packing the bigger punch into the wall. Chappy unable to fight against the power of mech. And that really is just how many of these ladder or practice games go, unless you really have control of your abilities. Now, where did it go wrong there for Chappy? It really just was a battle of grit that didn't pan out. The Swarmos and Corruptors dying freely as well didn't help, and trying to go Broodlord against Thor right now is such a difficult way to go. Like I said before, Infestor and Viper are what has proven to be successful, especially on Serral's side, but not everyone can be Serral. Is so difficult. It's a hard call, and I feel like the Ravager Roach way is pretty effective. Bile is really good against siege tanks, and if the Thors are really clumped up, it is also pretty solid to work with. Swarm hosts allow these locusts to come out, but you can really see it is a lot more difficult for the Zerg than the Terran by this point. You know, it's a little bit reversal of fortunes, and that's my take on it. Feel free to disagree or agree, guys, but I hope we can agree that this was a pretty solid game on a map that we will not be seeing as often as we would like. It's a pretty fun map. Romanticide does have a very macro-oriented style, and it really seals the gaps of the closest way to get to your opponent, but at the same time, at least it's still a short and small map. It doesn't have any of those really extravagant gimmicks. It doesn't have this really huge map size just to force the macro. No, it's finding a way. It's using the tools of the game to a setup that is a little more different. And GG, well played to both. Congratulations to PhyNix for taking that match.